Excellency, AFRIQUE Media is pleased to have you this special day. We have a little concern about what is happening in Cameroon. We want to talk precisely of the Anglophone problem, which is like escalating right now. We have the militarization of northwest and southwest regions, want to say, and leading to a rampant killing. What is your perception of the situation? What analysis do you make of the situation right now? I want you to make allusion to federalism, decentralization, and what are other stakes really on right now?
Well, once more, I want to welcome you to Baba 2, and that I've always appreciated AFRIQUE Media, that when there are burning issues, they do all they can within their powers to meet me, whether I'm in the farm, I'm in town, or I'm in the village here, or anywhere else. You always make sure that you catch me for me to make my points known. This said, you said that the Anglophone issue is of concern to you. It is of great concern to me. And I started noticing this a long time ago. And I drew the attention of government and Cameroonians to what I was noticing. At one time, over and over, 1, 2, 3, 4, more than 5 times I said, I saw dark clouds hanging over Cameroon. After I said it about 5 times, Mr. Biya later himself said he saw dark clouds hanging over Cameroon. Well, seeing dark clouds is one thing, and resolving the issues that were making the cloud dark is another thing. Now, the so-called Anglophone problem, when it started with the teachers calling for better conditions of service, the lawyers calling for better conditions to serve the people in the courts, with magistrates, bailiffs purely of French origin, the French as their first language, who could not speak English very well, coming here to interpret the laws were not very easy. So when these people protested, instead of the government listening to them, they got them brutalized. I was in the bush when they called me that we were beating lawyers. I ran, met them at the Liberty Square or near City Chemist. Even in my presence, the police were threatening to beat the lawyers. I think that we are living in a country where people should be able to tell you how they feel and what they want to do to feel better. I think that we've come to the world to have a better life, live happily, and all the like. But when Mr. Biya later sent the Prime Minister to look into these teachers, lawyers' problems, as the Prime Minister was in the Northwest trying to resolve this with some members of his cabinet, his own ministers were in Yaoundé shouting at the top of their voices that there was no Anglophone problem. Excuse me. And to me, I said it's a Cameroonian problem, because if you have 10 children and 2 are sick, I think that the rest of the children will not be feeling very happy. And that's why you see today in Parliament, the SDF parliamentarians had to block Parliament for the main fact that they never put the discussions on the problems of the North and Southwest on the agenda of Parliament. And the senators did the same thing. And amongst the SDF parliamentarians, you have parliamentarians of the other regions of Cameroon that will term in this case that they belong to the Francophone setup. Now, these people united themselves as one man, one person in Cameroon. and they were fighting for this, that. The issues that are affecting the North and the Southwest, either in the courts or in schools, should be resolved. What surprised me is that the Prime Minister had actually agreed on a number of points with the teachers, agreed on a number of points with the lawyers, for Mr. Biya to authenticate by signing such for them to return back to work. I remember very well that they closed from a meeting on a Monday to meet on a Wednesday and sign the documents so that they could go back to work. But by Tuesday evening, they ordered the arrest of these teachers and the lawyers. They actually arrested some and started chasing some, and they went on the run. These who went on the run, who are still on the run till today. I told the governor, Mr. Governor, can you let Mr. Biya sign this thing for these people to go back to school, the lawyers to go to work? He said, no, tell the children to go to school first. Tell the lawyers to go to court first. I think that we are talking of democracy, a democratic society, where people should feel in their hearts to discuss the issues that hurt them. Let us sit on a table and talk. If my own point of view does not agree with yours, convince me why I should see your own point of view. You don't just tell the children to go to school. Unfortunately for me, I'm not a teacher. I'm not a lawyer. But I'm a concerned father to these people. I saw how some of them were seriously and stupidly brutalized. And when they arrested some of them to carry them to Yaoundé, to try them again under the court that they were complaining that the legal system is not very good. We carried them to Yaoundé to try them under these conditions which they were protesting and fighting against. Anyway, the struggle continued. When I met with Mr. Biya around January, when the Lions came to Etuidi to present the cup that they won in Gabon, I was invited and I went. Though I was mourning because they started killing. But I said, let me go because I'll have the opportunity to meet Mr. Biya. When I got there, I met Mr. Biya. He greeted my hand. I held him. I said, please excuse me. I know me and you only talk here. Look for a solution to what is happening in the North and Southwest. Oh, Mr. Chairman, we're looking at it. We'll see what to do. I said, this thing will soon drip through our fingers. Because when the thing started, I went out to the streets in Bamenda, and the children stoned my car 4 times. When they stoned, I came out of the car. Some of them took off and running. I said, come, tell me, what is your quarrel? Which is what I expected Mr. Biya to call the people. Let me know, what is your quarrel? What can we do? And at that meeting, or the presentation of the cup, I told Mr. Biya that, please, excuse me, sign for these teachers to go to school, for the lawyers to go to work. About the federal issue and whether decentralization or federation or secession, let them know that these are political issues that we'll be discussing in Parliament. But let the children go to school, let the lawyers go to work. He said, we'll see what to do about it. And they dragged on, and they were only telling, please, can the children go to school? Can the lawyers go to work? And they sent people, they started beating people, killing, shooting and killing, which I condemned in very strong terms. Now the people were pushed to the wall. Of course, they had to fight back. They had to fight back. And when they started fighting back now, they called them terrorists. When Mr. Biya came back from Nigeria next door, that this thing started since it's almost a year and a fraction going to. He has never addressed the issue. He's never dialogued with Cameroonians or Anglophones to know what is happening. It's a matter of force. Military, left, right, turn right, return. Forward march, turn right, left, return. Forward march. I don't think that we're living under a military regime. Even under a military regime, the commanding officer, there's a time his voice slows down and he talks to people. But this is not the case. And I feel very sorry and very, very hurt that they're killing. Now, Mr. Biya came and declared war on his people. And you will tell your father to stop that rubbish. I know you edit this. So, I think that Mr. Biya should look into this issue. He never did. He instead, on his return from Nigeria, declared war against people he called secessionists. I've listened very carefully. I've listened attentively to the remarks that Cameroonians are making against the people of the North and Southwest. Secessionists, terrorists. Who is a secessionist? Somebody who has a problem and tells you that, look, I have this problem that is affecting me teaching the children. And Mr. Biya tells us that the children are the future. And the Anglophones say we want to train our own future this way. They are not moving from your educational program. You now call them secessionists. You call them terrorists. And some Cameroonians go to the extent of saying they are Biafrans and all the like. Please, let us analyze this. Who is a secessionist? To me, a secessionist is a person who does not listen to the cry of the children to resolve that problem. You secede yourself from your children's problem. 2, Mr. Biya cannot wage war against his own people. This is very unfortunate. And I take exception on that. If we, for instance, let's say you drive a thief, a hardened criminal, a murderer, he runs into your house and bangs the door. You are chasing with a gun. You will not kick the door open and just shoot a gun in the house, because you know that your children are there. The children might hear the thief bang the door, they are running out to see what is happening, and you open the door and just start shooting, you kill your own children while the thief goes. Mr. Biya, up till today, has not been able to dialogue with Anglophones to find out what is it that you really wanted. What do you want me to do for you? You instead declare war. In this case, who's a secessionist? It's Mr. Biya who has seceded. And Anglophones in their own presentations have analyzed of how the unification came up and how they kept changing from Federal Republic to United Republic to Republic. People said, no, these things that were changed this day never followed the Constitution. I'm not going deep into that. I'm looking at what is affecting us now. And he declares a war. Soldiers are killing civilians. Civilians are killing soldiers. The soldiers and the civilians are all Cameroonians that belong to me. I am at the crossroads. You see, when you are a father and you have 2 children fighting, you are not very strong again to withstand their blows. You stand in the center. This one pushes you this way, this one pushes you this way. One might give you a deadening blow, you fall down, die, while they continue killing themselves. Are we supposed to kill ourselves? This issue hurt me so much that Mr. Biya never listened to me when I met him in a 2D. I had to go meet the Sultan of Fumban. I met the Secretary General of the CPDM, Nkwate. I met Mafani Misonge. I met the Minister of Territorial Administration. I met Gregor Warner. I met some of these top officials of in our country and said, please, I am very, very, very worried about the approach that we are taking what we are taking. It's unfortunate. The oil is dripping through our fingers. Because you cannot hold oil in your hands for too long. I told Mr. Bia that when they shot my car 4 times, I came out and saw the category of children that were attacking were on the streets. I came out. They said, Chairman, what are you doing? Go back home. We want to die us. Children of ages between 10 and 35. This is that future that we talked about. And when they declare in my presence, in my face, that we want to die us, should I be one to accept them dying? When I met here with Mr. Bia, when he came here about 5 years ago, and we were talking, I told him, I said, sir, I was a millimeter away short from declaring war in 1992 when the elections were rigged. But when I looked at the young people, the children and all the like, I felt sorry. I said, I will not trample on these children to grab power. Because if there's anything I hate, is war. Because I had my own experience about war. I was in Nigeria when the Nigerian Biafran war started. I was at the Keja Airport, Murtala Mohammed Airport. I left there, came back to Cameroon. And after the war, I went back through Onitsha, Abakaliki, Enugu, Onitsha, Aba, Midwest, going down to Lagos. I saw the destruction. I saw the misery. I saw all this. And I told myself that war in itself is not good. We should not do anything to bring war. And that's why I never went to war. Mr. Bia said he knew that. Let us look forward. Looking forward, we are now in my own area where the people are being attacked, shot, killed, properties burnt, and I suspect very strongly that some of the issues that are happening are being propagated and engineered, masterminded, and executed by Mr. Bia's soldiers to show that they are the Anglophones that are doing this. Most of the schools, the soldiers are in schools, and the schools are burnt. Why? Of recent, they told me that some of the soldiers in schools that are girls' schools have started raping the girls and all that. Why do we go through all this? So I get very hurt, sir, confused that throughout all this, Mr. Bia has not been able to sit down to discuss with one Anglophone. Go to school, then we'll know it. Go to school, go to court. No. Even if you have slaves, you want to discuss issue with your slaves to say, I want you to do this, I want you to do this, I want you to move along, let's see what you can do. But this is not the case in the North-South. If children are being shot from the sky in gunships, and in gun planes, gone from the plane, if you throw chemicalized water on people, if you bring heavy tear gas on your people, and in the end you shoot and kill, even in the Bamenda hospital here, they fired tear gas in the maternity section of the hospital. That to me was barbaric. I just returned from the hospital in Shishong, from surgery. They fired tear gas in my compound. I called the governor. He came. I went and held the man that should kill me. Yeah, I just came from surgery. I was not on the road. Even if there's a war, my compound should be a no-go area. Because even if a criminal runs and jumps into my compound, we should encircle him and catch him. You don't have to start firing into my compound. Who am I in this country that my elections are rigged, and the person who rigs them thinks that he will trample on me and my people and just kill us as ants? I want to thank and congratulate Cameroonians who've taken this as a Cameroonian issue. And you talked about the scuffles in parliament. The people fighting in parliament, most of them are Francophones fighting for their brothers, the Anglophones. I want to congratulate Mrs. Ndamjoya Honorable, who flung her shoe and got a CPDM Anglophone parliamentarian on the face. And stories reaching me indicate that this man was telling Honorable Madam Patricia Ndamjuya that there are Anglophone issues where you have quarreled in there. This woman, with the pains of a mother, removed her shoe and flung, and thank God it got him right on the face to show the mark that it is not just an Anglophone issue. It's a Cameroonian issue. And when the Francophones of the SDF in Senate from Adamawa and the West held Senate hostage, the Anglophone senators from the Northwest, Southwest, what did they do? We have to now identify where we stand in the midst of pain. It's not just the food that we think we can eat and the position we hold. Let me make this abundantly clear. I formed a party, and when time came for us to go to parliament, to council first, I sent the younger people to go so that I stand behind to control. Time came for us to go to parliament. I still send the younger people to go for all these years. I did not rush into parliament to fill my pocket with monies and, oh, let me go and eat my own before I go. Senate. I tried to go into Senate, they dribbled, and I didn't go. I didn't bother. But I'm happy that the younger people again went. To me, I believe very strongly that I've trained the younger people who will take over tomorrow. And training is not necessarily going in there to do myself. We sit in the National Executive Committee meeting, we discuss debate issues, and I give them the line of direction, which we've been following. And if we were to take from what our Anglophone brothers outside were saying, Fru Ndi walk out of parliament, Fru Ndi resign, Fru Ndi do this, they didn't even call the name of the CPDM. So I suspect that most of the people, I first congratulate them for what they've done to raise the awareness of the Anglophone issue at international levels. But among them, I see CPDM people who are only telling me Fru Ndi resign. They've not called on any CPDM parliamentarian or senator to resign. They've not. I told them that when I accepted to go to parliament, it was because I was taking the struggle from the streets onto the floor of parliament. The SDF parliamentarians cannot just resign like that. The SDF senators cannot just resign like that. They have to take the struggle on the floor of parliament and fight it out there. And I told them, please go to the floor of parliament. I signed the resolutions that I am sending you to the floor of parliament. Go and fight it out there. Today, I stand tall and proud of my parliamentarians and senators that they went there and did precisely what the party wanted them to do. So, if today we are talking of Anglophone issue, why are they killing people in Manfred? Why are they shooting and killing in Kumba and the rest of it? Why is all this killing by members of the armed forces? I'm told that a soldier was arrested some time ago, I don't know where, who started just firing his gun rampantly. They arrested him and asked him what's happening. He says because he killed his brother, a member of the armed forces. I said, oh, so when they kill, it hurts. If you know that when you kill and they send you to kill, who are you killing? Your own brothers. The situation in the north southwest is different from Boko Haram, because Boko Haram came, people we don't know, to attack our people, to attack us. I gave my own contributions to the soldiers and to the government to send to the soldiers, to those that were sick at the Yaoundé military hospital. If I didn't regard them as my own children, I couldn't have done that. And I call on the soldiers, if you are sent to kill your own brothers and sisters, please don't do it, because it is criminal that you declare war on your own people. The so-called Anglophone issues, Cameroonians of good standing have written very well about it. And they made it clear that Mr. Biya knows the Anglophone issues more than me, Fru Ndi, talking about. Because late President Hijo had made Mr. Biya Secretary General or Secretary of the committee that was set in those days to look at the Anglophone issues. And out of those people, about 15 of them, I think only 3 are alive. And Mr. Biya, who was the secretary of that committee, is alive. So he should know what the Anglophone problems are. So if the Anglophone problem started then, he took and put under his foot and clutched it down and never came out with solutions, or never proposed solutions to the president, and took over and never brought the solutions, and it's mounted up to the situation where it is now. As a rancher, when I'm boiling fresh milk, I stand here with at least a little water or even another milk to put in. Because when the milk is boiling, it just comes out and overflows. But if it's coming through something cool inside, it boils down. Mr. Biya has not been able to do that. To put just that teaspoon of milk into that milk that you should cool down and boil again. No. He has escalated it. He has propagated it. He has called Anglophone secessionists. He has called them terrorists. And this is exactly what they termed the Bassas and the Bamilekis of Cameroon when they were fighting for independence. They said they were terrorists. They were terrorists. They were terrorists. Came with helicopter boats, guns, and shot people in the west. I grew in this village. I was born where you are interviewing me now. And they killed all these people. Most of them ran out here. We were fighting for independence. You call them terrorists. You are terrorizing who? That other countries fought for independence. Cameroon should not be the country that will fight for independence. Today, Anglophones are saying, look, we are being marginalized. We are being taken for granted. We are being suppressed. We are being made all these things. Can we talk, Mr. Biya? He tells you, I cannot listen to you. It's unfortunate. I'm talking with tears in my eyes. You are seeing this country going. Because I will not stand the killings of the people. You see, if I grow in a home where you are beating my mother and you keep boxing my mother every now and then, time will come when you see my own club might fall on you. They've seen what is happening in the Lake region. They've seen what's happening in other countries. Please, let us not let these things again slip out of our hands. I'm calling on Mr. Biya that in his New Year's speech, he should be able to take a stand, a firm stand. If he does not take that firm stand to think of the Anglophone with pity to answer their problems, that is when we know that he's finally declared the war. I won't want to go further.
Yeah, thank you, Excellency. Most Cameroonians talk so much about the federalism. Others clamor for decentralization, and some still go to talk of secession. What advice would you give at this?
No, the SDF was, from the onset, the SDF was for a federal system of governance. Because in the federal system, when you do the budgeting of the different federated states, you give them to run their budgets. But this that they say decentralization, they're in Yaoundé pinching monies, giving left and right. For instance, when you look at the SDF run councils, the budget that they give them is not up to what they give to the CDM run councils. And in the federal setup that the SDF proposed, it was that if we have a resource here, when they sell that resource, let's say wood, they give a certain percentage, about 40%, to the council of the area where these resources are coming from. Then they can give Out of the 30% that remains, they give the 30% goes to the government, and the other 30% goes to the other federated states. This was not done. That you saw the council of Yukaduma. A new young mayor who just came in, they gave him about 1.5 billion as his own share from the wood. Of course, my friend took the monies with his wife, they went them to France. Enjoyed themselves well, came and went straight to prison. This is not a federal thing we are talking about. We are talking of giving people their own share of the budget, so that if they want to train their own children, to send them to schools, specialized schools, to do whatever thing they're doing specialized, they could do it. This issue of education couldn't have come up. This issue of the lawyers' complaint couldn't have come up. But they said, I hear some political leaders now saying, oh, we want the federation now. But those are people who objected to the federation that the SDF came up with. That Fru Ndi talking about the federation meant, what Fru Ndi meant was secession. They started muting this thing a long time ago, which we condemned. Until today, I still condemn it. That we should go back to the drawing board. You should sit down on the table. And with the end of every day, they are killing and people are getting more bitter. With the end of every day, the things are getting out of our hands. I said you cannot hold oil in your hand for too long. I still repeat that. So Mr. Biya has to be very, very, very careful. And all the people that are supporting him have to be very, very, very careful.
Yeah, thank you, Excellency. I don't know whether you would mind like coming a little bit to decentralization, because it's clear you have made it known. The best way out is federalism. But what is also bad in decentralization? Cameroonians just think that they don't know what it's really what.
I cannot start giving lectures today and at this point on decentralization, because there are things that we talked over and over. We condemn decentralization. This decentralization was to hold a rope so that you can bring back other councils not to work. We condemned the electoral system. We wanted all those to be changed. I want councils in Yaoundé, want councils in Mesemena, want councils in the center, south and the east. I want councils. All those people supported Fru Ndi and the SDF on the policies that we advanced for them. And I took the federal option as a topical issue to campaign. And the people bought the idea. To say, no, we don't want that, we want the decentralization. How far has decentralization succeeded? And you called the father of decentralization, Marafa, and locked him up. Now, where are we today with that decentralization? Has it really worked? Has it succeeded?
Yeah, thank you, Excellency. We've come to notice that there are other African countries like Chad, Equatorial Guinea, Mali and Sudan who are really facing what Cameroon is facing today, this system of divide and rule. And we think of what has happened, what happened in some other countries around the world. If you want to take the case of Germany, they were divided and now they've come together. Korea was also divided, and they're struggling to come back. But they come to Africa and want to split us. What advice would you give?
No, it's not the white man trying to split us, it's we splitting ourselves. If you say Germany came back together, North and South Korea are coming together and other countries came together, it is Cameroon and the Anglophone Cameroonians first who opted to come together, who voted to come together. So unification, the architects of unification are the Anglophone Cameroonians. And when they came, you took them for granted. You think that you had some slaves to work for you? They were being marginalized and taken for granted. So that's why the children who still have a smell of the life of yesterday are fighting it out today that no, instead of us living like this, we better split and stay the way we stayed before. But these other people, they never lived under colonial masters. And where Britain gave independence and say, okay, you go, the French say, I sell the goat but I hold the rope. So how do we get out of this? So, Is it France that should lead us? We should lead ourselves. And let the Francophone Cameroonian come out of this for us to be able to take our own decisions to say, this is what we want to do, this is how we should live.
Thank you, Excellency, for granting us this interview. And then another last point now to come out, that would use opportunity to tap out every year to all the SDF militants, to all the Cameroonians, the Africans, in fact to the world at large.
Well, once more I want to congratulate Cameroonians for fighting a common fight, and this was truly exhibited in Parliament, where the Francophone Cameroonians fought in support. But what was the request of the SDF parliamentarians? Put the Anglophone issue on the agenda. Put it on the agenda. That's all. And putting it on the agenda was a problem now that people thought they have to fight it out. So, I want to thank all Cameroonians of goodwill who stood behind their children in the face of the struggle. I want to thank the parliamentarians in particular of goodwill who stood a fight that we should fight it as a country, not as individuals. At a time like this, when the world is at crossroads, I can only lift up my hands in prayer to the God of life, asking God, but Lord, where art thou? The world is at a crossroads. The world is almost, we're almost estimating ourselves. We're almost killing ourselves. For what? On the resources that God gave us. I am a farmer, a rancher, but sometimes on the table, with the small achu I eat, I might eat 2-3 slices of beef. Those get too much for me. So there's nothing in the world here that will eat and think that you can eat all of it. When you are young, you think that you can have so much. But as life advances, you can't have all that you think you could have. So I want to pray to the Lord God Almighty to look at the world with pity now and bring peace, love, and justice into the world. At one time in Cameroon, they tell you, want peace, peace, peace. I told them that we have peace, but what we lack is justice. We lack justice. And we want that justice more now in our land. And again, I want to appeal to Mr. Biya to look at the Anglophone issue with pity. Because the younger people are getting out of grip. And nobody's ever won a war against his people. Let him stop the war. Call on the people. Open, sincere, honest dialogue with his people. And we'll clear all this. And Cameroonians will be living in a country of love and smiling plenty. Thank you.
Thank you, Excellency. But we left out something. New Year wishes to young Cameroonians. It's also important because we have a special plan for us.
Yeah. At the level where we are, I will not end without wishing all Cameroonians a wonderful new year. Some will be celebrating the new year in pains. They've lost loved ones. Some who have been very angry to the point that they're in the bushes fighting will be in the bush at New Year. Is there anything I can do for us to resolve this so that we march on our streets, hand in hand, holding our hands, smiling and saying that we are one. Oh, we are together.